Hi, I'm Lindsay and welcome to the Poise Geeks Power Pause, where I give tips for things you can do in everyday activities to improve your posture. So today's topic was a request and it is dishwashing. So a few weeks ago I did a video on chopping vegetables, which is similar in that it's at a similar height, countertop height, you're bending forward, so we'll address that part first before we get into the washing and reaching in the sink part. So first thing you want to do is make sure you're not getting into one of the pitfalls of bending down towards the counter. There are two things I tend to see people do. One of them is just kind of slumping down like this. They're dropping the head, dropping the shoulders, bending at the waist. Another thing that happens equally often is people sort of lean back the lower back and then they're reaching forward like this, which can cause some strain on the lower back. It's not particularly efficient. So first of all, when you start, just take a quick note of where your weight is on your feet. If it's way back on the heels or way forward, just try to balance it out front to back a little bit. And then when you look down, just do a little movement of your head to start. Just gently drop your chin rather than dropping your full head and shoulders or dropping at the waist. Just that little movement. And if you need to bend farther, bend your hip joints. So your hip joints are lower than your waist. It's where your legs meet your pelvis, and you can just let your bottom go back. You imagine if you were closing a door or a fridge, let's say you're holding something, and you give it a little bump. That's how you want to bend your hips. It's a good cue most people can relate to for bending the hips rather than bending down at the waist. So I'll go through that again. Just make sure your weight is relatively even on your feet, front to back. Look down just with a little drop of the chin, and then if you need to bend farther, just bend your hip joints, move your hips back. So then you're bending down, but you're not dropping into a slump this way or a slump this way. So the second thing that people tend to have trouble with when they're washing the dishes is they're scrubbing some kind of heavy pan, leaning into the sink, and they're dealing with the weight of the pan. So we've got a little bit of a heavy pan here. What I'm going to think about when I pick this up is that I'm not going to use my shoulders to haul it up. So I've got my hands on it, and then I'm just going to lift with my elbows. And I'm going to use my elbows as the main way to adjust the height of this pan rather than moving from here. And also, as I bend into the sink, I'm going to make sure I'm still pretty grounded on my feet. Sometimes just paying attention to being on your feet can help you not kind of fall toward the heavy thing that you're holding. So if I'm scrubbing this pan, really thinking about moving it with my elbows, not with my shoulders. And you know, if it gets heavy, maybe put it down in the sink, put it down on the counter while you scrub it. If you feel like, oh, you start to use your shoulders when you don't feel like you have enough strength in your arms, I suggest you put it down to give it the scrub. So try those tips out. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. And also check the description for the free class that I offer on my website. And if you have any requests, feel free to put it in a comment or send me a message through my website. So thanks, and I will see you next week.